We're good?
Good.
Good. Fantastic. Well, hello there, Internet. Tonight we are starting our Joseph Campbell study group, and for those of you who don't know, which, how many people here don't know who Joseph Campbell is? Alright, one whole one and two half ones.
Yeah.
Alright, so Joseph, do you want to talk about who Joseph Campbell was, or do you want me to do it?
You're in charge tonight.
Alright, so Joseph Campbell is considered the last great generalist, and what he did is he compared all the world mythologies to one another and kind of came up with a system of how myths work. I've only read Hero with 1,000 Faces, and that one talks about the journey of the hero and talks about how all of the hero myths follow this same sort of idea within basically the same plot structure.
Basically, everyone from Odysseus to Luke Skywalker has gone on the same journey.
And Jesus.
And Jesus. And Jesus. And Aragorn, who is the same as Jesus, depending on who you ask.
True enough. And so he's also kind of a big deal for Star Wars geeks because George Lucas basically sat down with him and just listened to him talk for a long time, and then made the Star Wars movies, the first three, the good ones.
And then after that happened, he went and I believe updated the Hero with 1,000 Faces to include Luke Skywalker.
Here you go.
I believe he did.
All right. So does anybody who doesn't really know who he is have any more questions about him?
Okay, now, so you're going to tell me that the Joseph Campbell, kind of being a comparative mythologist, if you will.
Yes.
So he's also looked at some. It seems to me he's also examining literature and in some cases cinema to describe what a hero is through Hero with 1,000 Faces. So in other words, do we get the I don't want to call it cliche, but do we get the general idea of what our hero is like? Well, you mentioned Luke Skywalker and Odysseus, but could we also put people such as Peer Gynt, the Norwegian hero involved? So he created the idea of such.
Well,
archetypes.
Archetypes, yes.
Yeah.
That's what he
So
wrote.
that's,
Basically, the archetypes of the hero's journey, not necessarily what is heroic, but what a hero goes through. The loss of their mentor, from if you want to go with the death of Dumbledore to, I'm trying to think, Obi-Wan, I'm trying to think of a mythological example for the death of the mentor, the initiation from the goddess, whether that be the message from Princess Leia or Odysseus is meeting Circe.
Okay.
That sort of thing. All of these steps that the hero goes through in the journey that creates the not only the arc of the story, but sort of the lessons of development. And the reason these are so universal is because these are also ideas of human development instead of just character development. These are sort of also cycles of life that people go through, which is where you get the idea of the archetypes and Jung and stuff like that.
So therefore Jung would be a big part of it. Jung's ideas, Carl Jung's.
Yeah, he was sort of a predecessor of Campbell's. Or Campbell used a lot of his work and his theories.
They were contemporaries.
Yeah,
I believe.
okay.
They were a little bit before, but around the same time period.
Well, yeah, Jung was a contemporary of Freud.
Yeah.
A student of Freud.
Well,
yes, contemporary as well.
So,
He turned into a contemporary from.
Yeah. His primary workings.
Yeah, Freud had a tendency to alienate his students.
Well,
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. Anyway.
And so from that, especially Jung's dream interpretation, that's something that's really big. You see a lot of dream interpretation with Joseph Campbell as well. Because one of the things that I remember reading from him that he's always saying is that if we don't get the mythological catalyst for our own personal development, our subconscious will provide it for us. So, that's another really fun thing that we're going to talk about. All right. Anything else about Campbell himself as a person?
Early 20th century, primarily?
1904 to 1987.
Well, he was born in 04, though. So.
Yeah. 04 to 87.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the timeline there.
So you probably got to start in the 30s then?
I can look it up for you. Third years of the Great Depression, he was still studying then.
So probably 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Because at that point, one thing I do, just from looking at what...
The late 50s, he went
yeah,
to India and Japan.
The Schrodinger and Nietzsche studies that he had going on, you know, that would be post-World War II, which he's looking back upon, well, World War II, you know, so...
Can we also apply some of Joseph Campbell's theories to things like comic books and video games?
Absolutely. Well, you've heard my whole thing with Dragon Age, and you always get me started on my thing with Dragon Age, where you get to choose which archetype you are in this game.
Oh.
The idea, basically, you can be the hero making the hero's journey. You can be the mentor figure. You can be the goddess if you choose to initiate Alistair by romancing him and having all of that good fun. Yes. So you kind of, there are multiple roles into the mythical cycle that you can fit yourself into in this game.
I would almost credit that more so to Jung, though, because if you're strictly dealing with the archetypes, that feels more Jungian.
Well, Campbell is very big on the archetypes as well. I'm not saying he invented the idea,
Yeah, okay.
but that's
He
what
helped
he's talking
them
about.
out.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Hero with
Yeah.
1,000 Faces was published in 1949. He...
So his advent was the 50s.
50s,
Oh,
yes.
all right.
So you can see that he was very influential in the 60s and 70s. His ideas started to boom in that period. He wrote 2 books before Hero with 1,000 Faces.
And does it say in there when Power of Myth was? That was a PBS
The PBS special?
special, yeah.
Power of Myth.
Basically, he and Bill Moyers just sat down and had
Yeah.
fascinating conversations.
The
Hopefully
first
like
broadcast was in 1988,
Okay.
following Campbell's death.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
no approval from Joseph then.
Well, he was there, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming that he approved. But yeah. Right here, this is just a list of all the stuff that he's done. So, just a list of all the books that he's... and kind of a little tidbit about each of them.
How many pages is it?
It's 8 pages. 8 pages of his things.
Wow.
Yeah. Another thing that he was actually pretty famous for was being big on, what's the face? James Joyce.
Oh, Ulysses, right? Was he the author of
Finnegan's
Yes.
Wake, yeah.
Finnegan's Wake and
But
Ulysses?
he's more into the whole Finnegan's Wake thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
But he wrote a lot of stuff about, Joyce is a huge influence on him too.
So, wait, you're saying Finnegan's Wake then?
Yes.
So he must have found it really entertaining when James Joyce invented the word that means an act of God. I don't remember what that word is because it's about a page long and it's complete gibberish. But
Okay.
it comes from Finnegan's Wake.
Okay.
So since you're saying Campbell is a you know, the last great generalist,
Yeah.
mythology and all that,
Yeah.
taking a word that's the word is something along the lines of clicka clacka claska gibbly. It's really just gobbledygook, just put all together that James Joyce has said. This means an act of God. So I'm assuming that would be right up Campbell's alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, technically, he took the words "Hero with 1,000 Faces" right out of Finnegan's Wake.
Oh.
So, at least that's what I read somewhere.
Did not know that.
According to the Wikipedia article.
Well, if Wikipedia says it, then it
Must be
can't
so.
Perhaps, maybe.
Well, my knowledge right now is based on what I remember from 4 years ago in my high school mythology class.
Yeah.
So, I'll take Wikipedia's word.
All right. So, anybody else? Any questions on Joseph Campbell the man?
I think I'm up.
Lexi, does the internet have any questions for us?
No one so far.
Okay.
Okay, we do have one question. You mentioned Joseph Campbell. They're asking about his PBS special.
Yep, that's the special that you mentioned.
Yes, I
Is
believe-
it available anywhere?
I am like 99% sure it's on Netflix. If not, then your local library will probably have it. It's the kind of thing that libraries would have on VHS, at least.
And you can probably look it up on YouTube too.
Wouldn't surprise me, but
Well,
I'm almost certain. I know Netflix has a ton of stuff from PBS. I know they have some of his other video things, but I'm pretty sure that's there.
may have some links somewhere or another.
Mhm.
If I do, I will send them to you because Afterfall sent me something about Campbell.
Okay.
So we'll double check that for you guys and get back to you.
Mhm.
Is there anything else? Or can we go on to the actual structure of the group even?
I'm not seeing anything on my end.
Nope.
Alright. Then it gets to the point where we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing here in this study group. I'd like to take a book, a chapter at a time, read the chapter on our own, and then come back and discuss it. Is everyone cool with that?